Funny how? Funny like a clown? I amuse you? What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny? Welcome back to Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die. My name is Grant. You can call him Chip. And today we are continuing our coverage? It's not exactly news. This is a few years old. Of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Golden Wind.
We left off with everyone getting stabbed and pulled somewhere into a boat.
Mysteriously, somewhere in this boat.
Before we get into that, this first episode here, episode 6, Moody Blues' Counterattack, starts off with the narrator giving us a little bit of backstory on Abbachio.
Yeah, forget the cliffhanger. It's flashback time. That's what's really important. And Abbachio here became a cop right out of high school.
Yep, he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys. I think every graduating class has at least one guy who just goes straight to being a cop.
And like he never really fit in because he couldn't wrap his head around the cognitive dissonance of it all.
Yeah.
He couldn't double think hard enough to be a good cop.
Yeah, it's Abbachio, how did you not know all of this before becoming a cop?
Have you not seen cops before?
Yeah, because the narrator's just showing Abbachio trying to be one of the good cops while thinking all cops are good cops, and then he notices, wait a minute, people are bribing cops. People do crimes, and also the people who don't do the crimes get mad at the cops for not stopping the crimes? The sheer lack of respect for the police force. Abbachio gets beaten down enough that eventually he starts to accept bribes, because if he doesn't take the bribes, then someone else is just going to get paid to make these criminals go free.
The point where Abbachio is really upset at just the idea of bail, just the concept that someone accused of a crime doesn't have to sit in prison the whole time.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
We're really setting him up for like a fucking Dirty Harry power trip fantasy. but no, the world eventually gets to him. He accepts a bribe from a pimp who then robs a store and kills the teller. So we take a hard swerve into a Spider-Man origin instead.
Yes. Abbachio hears about this robbery and he goes into this building, and it's the same pimp from earlier. This pimp who looks like a minor villain from a JRPG. He just got that. He's trying to talk Abbachio down and go like, hey, if you fucking send me to jail or whatever, I'm going to start blabbing about the bribe you accepted from me. And this is freaking Abbachio out.
So he puts down his gun. He is giving into the blackmail. And that's when out from behind his back, the robber pulls his hidden gun. We could have presumed he had a gun. He shot the teller. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not that big a surprise. But in this altercation, Abbachio, of course, has a partner on his beat who lunges. They each shoot each other, and the partner dies first. Yeah.
The robber is shot, and over the course of the next 20 seconds just goes, fuck! Ow! I'm gonna die!
While Abbachio's partner says nothing, because he is dead.
He is super dead. And after this happened, like the death of his partner
turned Abbachio into a fashion goth.
He turns into an extreme, an alcoholic goth. And he quits the police force. He's labeled a dirty cop. And gotta say, even though this scene is showing him being an alcoholic, just drinking himself into a deeper, darker depression, he's got to still be a bit of a functional alcoholic to get his hair like that.
Well, no, he's really letting himself go. That's not a darker shade of purple. That's his natural color showing through. He's not touching up his roots anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a way to get your roots to come back in a way that comes in that star pattern? I have no idea. I've never dyed my hair.
So this is when Bruno Bucciarati comes knocking on a rainy day with a proposition to, take life by the horns again. And that brings us to our OP. Mm-hmm. Back in the action, representing the cliffhanger, tentacle hand grab ass, rapier through the back, the whole thing.
Yep. Bucciarati decides, okay, they're getting yanked somewhere into the boat. So why don't we just use sticky fingers here and we just unzip the top of the boat and just see where they're at?
There are some quick exchanges before they do this that I think are fun. Abbachio thinks to himself about Giorno's, leap headfirst into danger. Quote, honestly, this guy's a total whack job. What the hell were you thinking?
Yeah.
But they figure since the fly is still buzzing around, the shoe fly, don't bother me, is still flying around, that means Giorno must be still alive. And if he's still alive, all of their other friends are also still alive.
Yeah. Abbachio is saying we shouldn't actually go down into the boat. That seems way too dangerous. And so, this is when they decide to just have Sticky Fingers go crazy, unzip a big hole on the boat. And I like that once a big chunk of the floor has been turned in, has a big zipper on it. When they unzip it, the floor sags like it's cloth.
Yes. So that fly, in its aimless buzzing, is getting closer and closer. So that must mean the stand user is getting closer. Everybody jump in the hole. So they look around downstairs and Bucciarati's like, okay, bud, it's time for you to bring out that stand. Nobody's looking. It's okay. And so we meet Moody Blues, who is a late 90s blobject of a man.
Yeah. Not too many features on it. It's just kind of a smooth purple man with not really any facial features. It has like gray leggings on, and it has an ass. There's a shot where you see it running and you see from behind, and it just has an ass.
Across its forehead, it's got a liquid crystal clock display. Yep. So this is definitely a Nickelodeon brand alarm clock, except it's not orange and green. It's
purple and gray.
It's like it's Napster colors is what it is.
Yeah.
And to go along with that sort of music theme, it's got telephone handset sort of speakers. Like those discs of holes, basically.
Yeah.
4 eyes, 4 shoulders on the backs of its hands.
Yeah. Yeah, they bring this stand out, and they get back to the top of the deck, and then we start to see what his stand can actually do. And this is the detective stand.
Yes. It is used for crime scene recreations.
Yeah. They want to recreate the events of what happened a little bit ago. So Moody Blues goes and stands where Narancha was earlier in this boat trip. And the stand just turns into Narancha, but with the liquid crystal display still on his forehead.
While it screams a dial tone.
Yes. The display reads 5 minutes. This stand essentially lets you see what happened in the last 5 minutes of a person's existence.
Well, I mean, they set it to 5 minutes. There's no idea.
They set it to 5 minutes. That's right.
At least not at this point that there's any limit. Like it could be like, show me what Narancha was doing last Wednesday.
Right.
Nothing useful. That's what he was doing. So 5 minutes ago, Narancha was sitting back on the deck, jamming out to his tunes. And they're like, okay, all right, let's scrub forward a little bit. And so they go through the whole Bucciarati's presentation on what they're even doing on this boat and all. And then Narancha, the recreation of Narancha, has a puncture hole in the back of his neck.
Yeah.
And he deflates like a balloon, complete with balloon deflation sound effects.
Yep. Oh, there's a really good, well-animated shot that's like a close-up of Narancha's face deflating, but his eyeballs are still staying the same size, so they're just bulging more and more out of his face.
Yes.
That gets us to the mid-episode title card here that's introducing the enemy stand in full.
This stand is not named in dialogue either. I don't know how much of a trend that's going to be going forward. So let's just say this is Soft Machine, or tender machine in the localization. It's a sensual machine.
Yeah, this stand is kind of like a pale green, spikes all over it. The top of its head looks like a Jell-O mold.
The same sort of spikes its user has all over, but we presume that's part of his shirt.
Yes. And yeah, it's got a little rapier, and the top of its head looks like it's got a Jell-O mold on it.
The rapier seems to be of variable length, because when it stabbed through Giorno, it was like fucking sword length, but it's more often shown as just like a little 8 to 12-inch dagger blade.
Yeah.
It's kind of like living asparagus.
Yeah.
But
back in the episode, we immediately see more of Narancia deflating with goofy balloon deflating noises, and he starts to, once he gets flat enough, starts to get pulled through the drain that was near him where he was standing.
He looks like he smoked pot in a 90s PSA.
That's a very good description of what he looks like right now. Yeah, this is Narancia on drugs. Two-dimensional.
And so, yeah, he just gets sucked down the drain pipe. I think I said something about that last week. I'm pretty sure I should feel good right now. So they surmise this is what this stand can do. It can turn people into rubber.
Yeah, well, they investigate this a little bit more because, like, halfway into Narancia getting pulled into the drain, they pause Moody Blues, so Narancia just freezes in place, and then this is where Bruno like grabs Narancia and goes like, his nails and his flesh, even his belt buckle, are all rubbery like a weird condom.
Not like one of them normal condoms.
A weird condom.
I mean, condoms aren't usually person-shaped. That is pretty weird.
So this is where they figure out, okay, this guy's power is to just deflate stuff.
So he's using that power to deflate himself and just crawl around in impossible gaps like some sort of tombs or something.
Yes, very Tombs-like.
He's going to eat our livers, oh no.
They unpause Moody Blues, and just because it is now following the same path that Narancia did, and it is still Moody Blues that is traveling through these pipes, Narancia or Abbachio can kind of sense where Narancia was taken.
They're using that sense to just sort of like by stand sonar try and track where he's currently hiding in the boat. But everywhere the sticky finger zipper punches, he opens up, looks inside, can't find the user, can't find the other deflated friends. What's up?
And this is starting to freak everyone out. They keep unzipping stuff. It's just not getting them anywhere. And so
Moody Blues reverts back to its own dang self and just starts punching the pipe it's in to really like drive home the sonar comparison, or like trying to like, I don't know where I set my phone down. Someone call me. It's that.
Yeah. And they can hear it, but like they can't see it. Even when they get really close to the source of the sound, it's just baffling. And Abbachio decides, okay, I'm going to do some crazy shit here and try to and finally solve this for real. And this is when the enemy stand starts approaching Moody Blues. And he tries to go in for a punch, and Abbachio's just like, I fucking figured it out. I solved it, dude.
He's like looking up at gulls circling overhead and looking over his shoulder at the mast, and he's like, yeah, I know everything. Time to die.
Yep, he gets stabbed and deflated as he is pulled into an open hatch on the boat. His bloody, deflated hand slaps Giorno across, or slaps Bruno across the face. And now it's just Bruno all alone. Everyone else has been taken out and deflated.
Bucciarati is so dang frustrated. He like wigs out and just starts punching furiously, zippering the whole deck inside out practically. And that is when Zucchero begins to taunt him. But Zucchero's not really there. Soft Machine isn't really there. All we have is the Fly.
Yes.
So the Fly begins representing Zucchero, standing in for him in the scene.
Yeah, because the fly is just following wherever Zucchero is. So it's like the fly is the evil one here.
We didn't mention it before, but Zucchero's English voice we heard very recently as Yoma in The Spake Kashibe Rohan The Run.
Oh, okay.
So go back a few episodes in the feed to hear some more of his credits.
Yeah. And so, yeah, this fly is going around Bruno in circles, and Zucchero is just telling him, hey, fucking tell me where that treasure is. Tell me where Polpo's treasure is, and maybe I won't kill every single one of your friends who I have, like, in my clutches right now. And this is where
Zucchero is making it very, very clear that if Bruno does anything but tell him where the money is buried, the team dies. He's not allowed to ask questions. He's not allowed to pause. He's not allowed to say anything else. And all of this is just being screamed at the top of his lungs.
Yeah.
This is a very shouty fly.
Yeah. And this is where Bruno, it seems like everything is clicked in his mind. He doesn't comply. Zucchero's just like, okay, time to fucking kill every single one of your guys.
So Bruno starts talking about the birds.
Yeah, he starts talking about the gulls.
Yeah, like, oh, you thought these were seagulls, but they're not. They're black-tailed gulls. I can tell because of their call. I might have been able to tell because of their black tails, but okay, sure. And this is irrelevant as far as I can tell. I have no idea what the point of this fun animal fact is.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to show that he's really calm right now and collected.
I guess. Is it just like, I know something you don't know? A completely pointless thing. I also know what you know, your secrets. So yeah, all of those punches earlier weren't just an act of frustration. No, he was punching holes in the boat. He's intentionally sinking the boat, and it has finally begun to take.
Yeah, and as the boat begins to sink, he explains that, hey, it was Abbachio who showed me the secret of this boat and what was actually going on.
That there were two boats all along.
Yes, this is a wild twist. So Bruno noticed when Abbachio got pulled into that open hatch, the blood trail that streaked across the floor ended right before the hatch. It didn't like get pulled into the rest of it. So he realized it wasn't just that Zucchero was, deflated and in like little, traveling in like little pipes and cracks and stuff. He deflated a second boat.
Yes.
And wrapped it around the boat they rented like skin, like boat skin. And he was traveling between the thin layer between the real boat and the boat skin.
So now what happens? Now what happens is the real boat inside the skin boat has been taking on water and is beginning to sink. So the skin boat peels away and comes off of it, like revealing the real boat inside. And like we thought we were on the Lagoon 2. I mean, technically we were, but within it was the Lagoon 1, now revealed as it falls to the center of Naples Bay. While Lagoon 2 becomes a real boat again to act as a lifeboat because Zucchero doesn't want to die out here, at least not by drowning. That's not the plan. And so everyone is intact and safe on the real boat that was until a moment ago the skin boat. While the original real boat they thought they were on, but they mostly weren't, is sinking to the bottom of the bay.
Yeah.
It's very clear. Everyone understands.
Everyone understands.
And that is when Zucchero steps out with his Stan's blade to Abbachio's throat.
Yep. His deflated, rubbery condom throat. And this is when Bruno just goes, you know what? I'm just going to unzip my own arm and rocket punch you.
It's so fucking cool. Do you think he's done this move before, or is he inspired by Giorno?
I think he's inspired by Giorno.
Yeah, that this is an illustration of their short but strong relationship and how just Giorno's presence is making the team like more creative, more daring, more effective.
Yeah.
It looks fucking cool though.
It's really cool.
I mean, ever since the temperance fight, I've been really into people summoning their stands as power armor.
Yeah, yeah.
And when it lets you rocket punch, that's baller as shit.
Yeah, it's it's one of my favorite thing that he does occasionally with Sticky Fingers is just the rocket punch.
It's like 30 feet away. Just punch him right in the fucking throat. Right in the throat. To land a zipper punch and decapitate him. His head comes off.
Yes, he unzips his head.
And so this episode ends with Abbachio and presumably the others, though they're not shown, like returning to normal and puffing back up, sounding like, you're inflating an air mattress for an unexpected guest.
The episode ends here with Abbachio just going like, "Hey man, nice job."
So then we get our ending credits, and I'm sure people have been yelling at me these last few weeks for not pointing out that "Freakin' You" is in the Magic Mike XXL soundtrack and film. It is the song Mike dances to in Savannah when he's trying to convince that lady to be their MC on their big road trip. It's where he meets Donald Glover and Twitch from So You Think You Can Dance.
Yes.
But there's a post-credit scene. That's unusual for this show.
Yeah. It's been a while since there's been a post-credit scene. But yeah, we go back to that flashback where Bucciarati and Abbachio first meet.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Bucciarati telling, the drunk Abbachio at his darkest moment to like, "Hey, dude, join my team. I'm putting a team together." Like, this is just where Abbachio says, "Hey, fuck it."
Yeah. And we just see him make the choice of, the fellowship of good criminals over the black doorway of despair.
Yeah. And that leads us to episode 7, Sex Pistols Appears, part 1.
Episodio sette, indeed.
Episodio, yeah.
But before we move on, though, like, I try is an operative word, but I try to listen to all of the bands or all of the references, whether it's an album or a band or just a song. Those ones are great. They go quick. It's just one song.
Yeah.
And like Moody Blues is an interesting case of what I like to think of as a retroactive one-hit wonder.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They had a perfectly successful, wonderful career, but as time marches on, it's just Nights in White Satin.
Yeah.
And that's just how it shakes out. I'm sure they're all doing fine. But Soft Machine is the fucking worst thing I've listened to for this show. I hate Soft Machine. It's unlistenable garbage.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to pull this up real quick and just take a quick listen, because I have never heard Soft Machine.
Soft Machine is, guess what? It's another fucking experimental, weird underground prog rock band. Okay, that's fine. Some of them are good. Soft Machine isn't. I listened to like 10 minutes of their first album, and it's just bad. It's just bad. And I thought, hey, maybe I'll try again. What's one of their more highly regarded albums? Okay, their third one, just called Third. Fine, whatever. Just actively hostile. No, it's terrible.
This sounds bad.
It is bad. It sounds bad because it is.
This first song where it sounds like they are just touching knobs on things and just turning them a lot back and forth. This is so bad.
Yeah, like you hear so many songs of like people like, "Oh yeah, I was listening to records in my room and my dad banged on the door and said, 'Turn that off. That's not music. That's just noise.'" And like you think they're talking about the Rolling Stones or some shit, like, "Oh yeah, parents just don't understand." If they're listening to this, your dad was right and you should have turned it off. It's bad.
Yeah, this one song is literally just noise. I went to a different song 20 minutes in and it is still noise, but at least there's a pan flute on top of it. Ooh, whoa, we're getting close to like a melody in this one. Be careful. There's instruments in this. It's not just white noise. I don't like this.
So, yeah,
I'm done with this.
Episodio Sette, Sex Pistols Appears, Part 1. The crew is all just like checking out their bumps and bruises from that fight. Until Narancia becomes angry enough to lead them all in kicking the shit out of Zucchero's corpse.
Yes.
And again, I have to voice my surprise that this story ran in the same magazine that did Naruto.
Yup. And as they're kicking the headless like body, his still alive head, which is like several feet away, is just watching his body get kicked as tears stream down his face.
I thought he was dead, but I guess I'm learning more about how zippers work.
Yep.
He has no control over his body, but both pieces of him are still living.
Yeah.
All right, I'll mark it down, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, while his head is wincing in pain, Giorno picks up the wallet that fell out because they were beating his body so hard, checks his ID, and wonders, hey, what the heck this Roman thug is doing here? He told you repeatedly. He told he told Bruno very explicitly what he's doing here.
So they need to get information from this guy.
But first, we have a little travelogue moment from the narrator.
Yeah, we have to learn about the island of Capri.
Which is sort of, bounding the bay of Napoli, sure. I say sure dismissively. No, that's an actual geography fact. Yes, indeed it is. But the gist of this is that, the island of Capri is Greek tested and Italian approved, basically. Beautiful soaring cliffs and ancient culture and traditions. Everybody loves it. That's why we're going to find it full of tourists in a moment.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Mista is now yelling at the head like, hey, you're going to tell us everything you know. You probably got an accomplice or maybe more. We need to know everything about them and everything you told them. Hey, Mista, if you want him to answer questions, maybe unzip his mouth.
Yeah.
Let's think realistically here.
Meanwhile, like Bruno is scanning the horizon with some binoculars to see like, okay, is anyone else following us? Because if one guy got onto our boat and almost killed all of us, I'm pretty sure there's probably at least a handful of other dudes probably coming after us right now.
And like they've been basically sailing in circles. They took a wrong turn out of the bay and are just coming back around to Capri, trying to cover their tracks. But if somebody knows, then they know.
Yep. And now we're back to Mista interrogating this man's head.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, there's some things in this boat that aren't mine. Which one should I use on you? And it's a pair of glasses and fishing wire.
So he decides, why not both? And on the end of that fishing wire is a fish hook that he hooks onto the eyelid, the right eyelid.
God.
And then just sort of flings him around like a grappling hook.
Yeah, so that he wraps around a part of the mast and is just hanging from it on the fishing wire. And you can see his eyelid, like, because of the weight of his head, his eyelid is getting pulled because the fish hook is going clean through it. Ugh.
Uh-huh. And so on this bare, unclosable eye, Mista sets up, these eyeglasses just right so that they focus the sunlight into a point like he's trying to pop ants on the sidewalk.
Yep.
In order to like burn this unclosable eye. And what they make him watch is a dance party.
Yeah, they all start dancing.
A very 90s music video pops out. The kind with like the Smashing Pumpkins kind with some shaky, very alt animation, not the kind with big billowing curtains and wind machines like every other music video in the 90s.
Yeah, and it's like a whole dance number. It goes on for like almost a full minute.
They are interrogating him through the medium of dance. And so all of these like diegetic elements of like, the rainbow sheen, the rainbow cast by the prism effect of the glasses and the haze of the heat and the actual choreography all coming together to make it's just a music video.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's ever done a torture scene vis-a-vis music video. Like, I love it. I love this scene. It's also very good in the manga. But I really like it here too.
I love the way his head shows up like in different cuts in the center, and it's all like wiggly woogly, like an MTV like station ident or something.
Yes. Yeah. I really like what they did. Because like that stuff wasn't in the manga. That's entirely like an anime edition, that stuff, I believe. It just looks really cool. It's fun when shows get to throw in a completely different style or direction of animation in just for fun.
So the dancers we have here are, of course, Mista, Narancia, and Fugo. Meanwhile, Abbachio is just like, hey, idiots, this is literally what my stand can do.
Yeah.
You want to know what he was up to before he started killing us? Let's find out, the way we always do.
Yeah. And so we see Moody Blues turn into Zucchero, and he is down inside the boat in the cabin talking to somebody on the CB radio.
And Giorno is explicitly not allowed to see. He has to like turn his back and go to the other end of the boat.
Yeah. Abbachio backhands the actual head of Zucchero and sends it flying across the boat. And yeah, we can see the flashback version of Zucchero here is talking to someone on the radio saying, hey, I've already taken out 4 of these guys. And they're trying to head for this island. So you could just like go to that island now while I'm fucking with these dudes and start looking for the treasure.
And so, yes, this other guy is Zucchero's old friend from the car back in Rome. And he has a speedboat. And so is sure he's going to be able to get to Capri before this yacht does.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What's the plan? How do we roll up? There's there might be an ambush waiting for us. Do we know there's only one guy? And as they are debating and sharing their like worries and their ideas and their perspectives, Giorno cuts straight through this and says, "Hey, I'm going to turn this life preserver into a fish."
Yeah.
And this fish is going to tow me as I swim to the island, and therefore get there faster than the guy in the speedboat. Or at least faster than this wind boat.
Yeah. Giorno just takes the fish.
Yeah, because he's got a golden dream and nothing's going to stop him. He's going to be the advance party to scope out and ambush the ambush, because nothing is going to stop him from killing the boss. He still hasn't told them what his golden dream is, but everyone knows it's very important to him.
Yeah.
And then Mista steps up and is like, hey, I want to ride your fish too.
How many people can that fish hold? Yeah, this is happening while Abbachio's like just laughing about this, going like, Giorno, you're dumb as hell. I don't think you actually know what you're doing. How are you going to do this? And that's when Mista's just like, I'll do it. I'll ride on the fish too. That sounds cool.
I will bring my stand, Sex Pistols. It's 8 little guys that live in my gun.
Yeah, yep.
It's 6 little guys that live in my gun.
6 little guys. Localized into 6 bullets. Not nearly as good as Sex Pistols.
Very descriptive, though. You know exactly what it is.
Yep. So, yeah, you may have thought, oh, Misa's stand is his gun, like Whole Horse. No, it's a normal gun. There's just guys in the gun.
They hitchhike, basically, and they are not even the bullets, kind of like Emperor. No, they're just little guys that like to ride bullets. And then in midair, they can punch and kick the bullets to redirect them.
Yeah.
Or do other little guy mischief. They're very, very little guys.
Yeah, they are literally the size of, like, bullets. They're tiny. So, yeah, both Giorno and Mista make it to the island.
After a Sex Pistols title card. We've already hit mid-episode.
They're both hiding behind, like, a little pier, and Giorno's trying to scout ahead with some binoculars to see if there's any suspicious characters. And while he's doing this, he's like, "What, Mista, where'd you go?" And he turns around, and Mista has set up a little dinner table. How did he bring all of this with him?
His answer to the question, how do we find, this killer among all these tourists, is big picnic. That's how.
Yeah. Like, he's like, it's way past lunchtime already. I wanted to go to that restaurant over there, but, bad guys might see us. So let's eat over here.
And Giorno's like pleading with him. We only got a 20-minute head start ahead of the boat. We got to take care of this guy before he gets the drop on everybody. Come on.
This isn't just like a little snack. He's got wine, a full bottle of wine.
Yes. He's slicing up a salami.
Yeah, he's slicing up a whole salami. This isn't like a baggie with slices in it. He had a whole salami on him.
This man's pants are so tight. This was not in his pockets.
Yeah. He's got bread. He's got like a whole roll here. He's got, I think, what is some type of cheese. Misa starts explaining that, like, hey, this is necessary for what we're about to do. I gotta feed my little guys.
What part of lunch break don't you get? It's lunchtime now, so I'm eating lunch.
Yeah. and so he opens up his gun, his revolver, and all 6 of Sex Pistols come out, and they all have their own little personalities. They can all talk, and Mista is feeding them.
They all have slightly different markings, including the big numbers on their forehead, of course.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, these guys are they're yellow. They're
Yes.
little yellow guys, and they got kind of bulgy eyeballs. They all have big grins on in some fashion. They're always baring their teeth. They're little freaky guys.
Longtime listeners will remember in one of our very first episodes, you did promise there are minions in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yes, it's these guys. They're minions.
They're naked minions. Where are your overalls?
Yeah,
oh,
no overalls here. They're just yellow. And Mista is feeding them tiny little salami slices, and they're chewing through them very quickly. They're like little puppies in that some of them just like push the other puppies away when they're feeding, and those are like the runts, and like they punch each other sometimes, and he has to like tell them he's like a parent to his stand.
Yeah, so on the one hand, his stand seems to be unionized, and they take their contract very seriously. They have a mandated lunch break, and they will not do any fighting until that is observed. But on the other, he's a babysitter. He's constantly babysitting his little guys.
Yeah,
and making sure they don't beat up on the little one too much. Poor number 3.
Yeah. And now that all of Sex Pistols has been fed and everyone's happy, it's time to get down to business. We got Mista kind of going ahead in deeper into the island here. Giorno is staying behind with like a radio to scout and give Mista information as he is sneaking around the island.
So as Mista comes up alongside this sort of guard shack, by the harbor, that is when everyone's in position and the plan can begin, because Giorno has himself a radio. I guess they packed up big duffel bags and turned them into like ladybugs or something to come along with. I don't know.
Sure.
And so he's radioing in a call for this mystery man from his accomplice Zucchero to sort of like find him out and bring him to the guard tower, which is when Mista will assassinate him.
Yep.
But nobody is taking the bait. Like this like harbor attendant is just like, hey, we got a radio call from a Mr. Zucchero. He says it's urgent. Does anybody here know a Mr. Zucchero? And there's nobody moving. There's nobody looking up or going to take that call. Mm-hmm. Until there's a guy already in the shack. We recognize him as the guy from the car, but he is so clever and so sly, he knows that there's a back door. They were only watching the front door. There's a back door to this shack. It's a pretty simple problem. This guy is never named.
No.
His name is Sale.
Okay.
Which means salt. They are salt and sugar.
Oh my god.
They're the flavor grain bros. Sale's English voice you might recognize as Izumi Miyamura in Horimiya. Or Daya Irma, one of the pilots in 86, or for our purposes, Jules in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Hey, there we go.
He's the workout king.
Nice.
While his Japanese voice is Nero in Devil May Cry 4 and 5, and Genos in One Punch Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Giorno has spotted Saleh in here, and he's trying to signal to Misa, like, the fucking guy is in there! And he's just waving his arms wildly.
Yeah, they didn't really work out enough hand signals to say he's already in there through the back door. They don't have that.
Yeah. And so instead, Mista is just like, what? Does that mean the guy is coming? And so he sticks his head around the corner, and then he starts walking forward, and he's about to cross the window that Saleh is looking right out of, and that happens, and Saleh's just like, what the fuck?
So Giorno shouts through the radio in order to like tell Mista what he needs to know, that, you know, he's in full view of a guy who will recognize him. And should probably act accordingly, which, of course, also alerts the guy who's, you know, inside with the radio. Everybody knows everything now at this point. So Mista fires 2 shots through the blinds that closed immediately, so Mista wouldn't get a look at his face. But that means there's 2 little Sex Pistols in there.
Yep. And they're riding the bullets, and sometimes when they ride the bullets, they go, yeehaw.
And so the one on the lead bullet jumps off while the lead bullet just hits a wall harmlessly, and then helps redirect the second bullet by kicking it right into the right ankle of Saleh as he runs out the back door.
Yeah, both of these little guys land on a table nearby, and then they do a little dance and like high five and elbow bump.
They love to do little dances and high five and elbow bump.
Yeah.
It keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when Mista comes inside and they like give him a report.
Yes.
And he congratulates them for doing such a great job. He's a very supportive papa. I love his relationship with his stand.
Yeah. And like they both jump into his open palm, and then they do another little dance.
They can't stop it. They love to dance.
They're very excitable little guys. I love Sex Pistols.
All they want to do is dance and have some fun. And the thing that's the most fun to them is shooting people in the ankle. They love it.
Yep. So yeah, Mista is now following the blood trail, Saleh's blood trail, and it leads to like an 18-wheeler.
Yeah. Over toward, you know, the driver's side door in the cab. And so Mista spends a lot of time thinking the situation through. A lot more time than I expected from the loud one of the group.
Yeah.
Like, he comes off in his first scene as a shouting hothead, but he is thoughtful. He is a planner, which is, you know, unexpected. Mm-hmm. Until, of course, the engine starts, and then he's just got to make a snap decision anyway.
Yeah.
So he leaps onto the running board, raises his gun at a terrified driver.
Just a normal man. And he's just like, ah!
While Giorno is just now from, you know, his point way out on by like a buoy, you know, protecting the harbor from waves. He's finally run up to the guard post. And that's the end of the episode, bringing us to Episodio Otto, Sex Pistols Appears, Part 2.
We start off with a quick little recap of what happened right at the end, go into the OP.
And then another flashback! Yay!
Yeah, it's time to get some backstory on Mista.
And young Guido Mista, he enjoyed the simple things in life.
Yeah.
Simple things like catcalling and mugging people to go to the movies.
And cheese.
And the narrator makes all of these things sound equally idyllic and pleasant.
Yeah. Sometimes he'd get his ass beat in a back alley, and you know what? Isn't that great? Isn't it great just get your ass beat sometimes?
He just liked to stick to the simple pleasures of life, beating up people for not liking his favorite movie star, objectifying women in the street, and not worrying about why the world is the way it is. There's a very kind of stiff and literal feeling translation in the subtitle that is very funny out of context all the same. Mista regarded complex thinking as bad.
Yeah.
And so at age 17, Mista sees a woman being severely beaten inside a car, and so he begins to beat the attacker.
Yep.
Who draws a gun and shoots at Mista twice and misses. So then 2 more guys come out of that car, and now all 3 of them are just unloading with their guns on Mista, and he is still untouched.
Yeah. Yep.
He steals one of their revolvers and loads it 1 bullet at a time, standing there.
Mm-hmm.
So when Metal Gear Solid 2 comes out,
Yeah.
you think? You think Fortune has her roots in Guido Mista?
I wonder. Yeah, I've never heard or seen Kojima mention JoJo in any capacity, and he talks about the shit he likes a lot on Twitter.
Like I'm not saying it's an impossible coincidence. I think it probably is, but it makes you think.
Yeah. When I saw this scene, I also can't help but think about Fortune.
So Mista cannot be hit, but Mista also cannot miss.
Yes. Mista just loads this gun bullet by bullet as every bullet misses him, and he just blasts every criminal, every guy here in the head.
I mean, if he blasts every criminal in the head, he wouldn't survive to meet Bruno. But
Yeah.
But these 3 guys.
Yeah.
So back in the present, our sharpshooter extraordinaire is leveling his gun at this driver, who he doesn't know isn't the guy. It sure looks like the guy. The blood trail went right up to the cab. But guess what? He is insightful, and out of nowhere, he shifts his aim and shoots a guy unseen to us, the viewer, standing on top of the truck. And yes, it is once again our Roman friend Saleh.
He shot Saleh in the fucking head.
Yes.
Like right above his left eyebrow. And Saleh appears to be dead for a second. Then he gets back up with a bullet wound on his head, and he goes, "Fuck, that hurt."
I was not expecting him to be dead, because at the moment of the shot, you see like the outline of a stand for like 2 frames. Like, okay,
Yes.
whatever this guy can do, he did it. He's not dead.
Yeah. So yeah, Mista fires a couple extra shots, shocked to see that this guy didn't die from getting shot in the brain. And this is when Saleh's stand fully appears.
A green robot with teeth.
Yes. What is this stand's name again? I forget the name of this stand right now.
Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk, that's right.
And it's not spelled like the band, but they still changed it in the localization anyway to Arts and Crafts.
Yes, his name is Arts and Crafts. My stand, Arts and Crafts.
The whole look of Kraftwerk is, it's got constantly bared teeth and no visible eyes in sort of a split helmet that makes me think it's bringing in some like xenomorph design influence.
Yeah, a little bit.
But from the neck down, it's again very much a part of the Araki Toriyama cultural exchange.
Yes, it is the kind of exoskeleton look with the visible joints at the elbows and knees, with some like complementary colored like carapace bits on the sides of the arms and legs. He looks very much like Cell from the neck down. God, Arts and Crafts.
Arts and Crafts. Now, Kraftwerk, I can dig. I can listen to Kraftwerk.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like they're a foundational German electronic band. They sort of moved electronic music out of the laboratory and into the record store. I think they have an undeserved a reputation for being hard to get into, for being impenetrable. Like, it might have seemed that way in 1979. But now they just sound like the Killers with like but without Brandon Flowers singing over it. Like that's what Kraftwerk is. Kraftwerk is just a predecessor to the Killers and other like synth forward arena acts.
Yeah. So Saleh here is just saying like, "Hey man, now that like I'm good, I can just like deflect all of your bullets. Also, how many bullets did you fire? I lost count. I think you fired 4 bullets." And then he's like, "Okay, also you shot 2 bullets back in the guard booth. So, hey, I think I have a lot of time to just calmly come up and punch you in the face while you try to reload while hanging from the side of a speeding truck."
So yeah, that's the plan. And Misa's like, oh shit, he's got a good plan. I'd better not be hanging right here. And so when he tries to leave, he can't because his hand is glued in place to the handrail he was, hoisting himself up on this whole time. So he's a sitting duck. He's locked, frozen in place. And the driver is likewise locked in place. Like his hands are both attached to the steering wheel and his foot is attached to the accelerator.
Yes.
He can't not drive this truck.
Mm-hmm. And you can see it's not just that like they're glued to it. It's just like an invisible force holds them there because Misa just tries to let go of the bar he's holding onto. And even though his hand isn't curled around the bar at all, he's still stuck there.
See, Kraftwerk's ability is to just lock objects in place, making him effectively bulletproof.
Yeah.
If he blocks these bullets and then they're just frozen there in the air alongside him, and the bullet he caught almost too late is just penetrating his skin and not actually doing any damage to the brain, where people keep their brains in their heads. That's fine.
Yeah.
He's okay.
It's cool. Yeah.
The shot to the head gave him the same sort of injury as if like he dropped a knife on his toe. Like
yeah.
Barely penetrated. Stings like hell, but...
And so Saleh here is taunting Misa and saying like, hey, so I wasn't entirely sure if this whole Popo's treasure thing is real, but since you're trying to kill me, pretty sure that means it's real. I'm hype. I'm going to punch your bullets now.
And that is when Misa spits out his secret bullets.
Yes, he's got bullets tucked in underneath his hat, so he just kind of shakes his head and bullets fall out, and not all of them fall into the chambers, but enough do, like 4 or 5 do.
He has 4 bullets, and Sex Pistols is just as superstitious as he is.
Yeah, yep.
But before they even get an accurate count, he fires 2 real quick enough that it seems like only 1. So Kraftwerk blocks 1 bullet, and the second comes out behind, while Sex Pistols number 6 and 7 accelerate it and shoots this guy right in the neck.
Yeah. And again, they're just riding on the top of the bullet, like going yeehaw, and it's great. They high five again when he gets shot in the neck.
It's important to celebrate your victories, you know?
Yeah.
They're just little guys. They don't get a lot of them.
Yeah. Saleh has been knocked off of the speeding truck. He is left behind on the highway behind. Still alive, he was able to just barely stop the bullet from killing him. And that leads us to our mid-episode title card, where we get to see Kraftwerks again, arts and crafts. And now we see what Giorno is up to, which is following the bloodstain.
Giorno is only technically in this episode.
Yeah.
So Mista, though, he's got 4 bullets on hand. Now they know, oh shit, we had 4 bullets all along. This is actually very bad. This bodes poorly for us.
Yeah.
So he's resolved to dig deep, though, and save the day. All of his friends are riding on him. Their lives hang in the balance, much less this millions and millions of lira in treasure, and the dream of the boss becoming a capo like he deserves to be. His plan is to shoot Saleh in the mouth because he believes, I do not know why, but he believes that is his weak point, where Kraftwerk won't be able to save him.
Right.
Do you know why in the world that would be?
Misa plays video games. That's the only reason why I think he would think the mouth is the weak point.
I guess he doesn't have a giant eyeball growing out of his chest. Gotta go for the mouth.
Yep. Gotta throw a bomb in there. I don't have bombs, so I guess bullets will have to do.
A bullet is the powder charge in the cartridge is kind of a tiny bomb.
Yeah.
Kind of. It explodes.
Kind of.
So while he is, riding the truck and talking with Truckman, they've left the radius of effect of Kraftwerk and are able to make choices where their body parts go.
Yeah.
So Mista can climb up on top and get himself a better vantage point, while the driver can choose to, stop if he wants. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Mista doesn't want him to stop. Mista wants him to keep going because they got to turn back and get this guy. He's determined. Which is when he sees Saleh just floating in midair like teenage Psycho Manus piloting Sahelanthropus.
Yeah, he's already ahead of the truck by a little bit. Like, the truck comes to a stop here, and Saleh starts to come towards them, not by walking across the road, by crossing, just walking on air, essentially, because what he's been doing is he has pockets full of rocks and pebbles, and he's just throwing them, scattering them across the air, and freezing them, and then he's just bouldering across the air with them. It's cool as hell.
It's very, very good. It's very good. This is where the driver's running gag begins, because anytime he wants to stop, like, Mista's like, go already. You should know I want you to go. And then when he's going, Mista says, stop. Why aren't you stopping? And the driver is expected to be a mind reader. And it's very silly. Poor driver. He's having an awful, awful day.
Yeah. And now as the truck speeds ahead and Mista's getting ready to fire a shot, Saleh here still has some of the bullets from earlier that were shot at him. And so he is doing a Breath of the Wild trick.
Yes! There is no way the stasis power Breath of the Wild is not inspired by Saleh. Like, that team is the team that makes Breath of the Wild. I mean, any game of its scope is so big. Somebody on there knows what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
It came up, even if not in a formal meeting, it came up in conversation.
Yeah, because what Saleh here is doing, he has just frozen a bullet in place in midair, and he is just repeatedly, lightly tapping the back of the bullet so it accumulates energy so that when he unfreezes it, all that energy hits the bullet at once, and it fires at the speed of a bullet. He's just going to shoot it by tapping it a bunch.
It just needs the helpful little arrow, is what it needs.
You hear Saleh thinking to himself that, like, ooh, I'm only tapping this bullet lightly because striking it too hard will make it a lot harder to control where the bullet actually fires. And like, yeah, this is Zelda.
So on top of this truck, we're having a showdown at high noon, basically. 4 shots versus 1, and Mista fires 3 in quick succession that all go wide, while at the same time, the recycled bullet that Saleh has hits Mista right through the midsection.
Yep.
Things are real fucking bad. He, of course, blames the number 4.
Yep. Mista's in a bad way. He's struggling to stand back up because of this bullet that went clean through his gut. So yeah, he's only got the 1 shot left, and 3 of Sex Pistols are all loaded up onto the single final bullet.
It's very crowded.
Yeah. And they're all just saying, like, hey, we're gonna put our all into this final shot.
Yeah, there's a lot of preamble here. Everybody's talking up themselves, their stands. All the Sex Pistols are high-fiving and really having serious time for the first time in their tiny little lives.
Yep.
And eventually it is time to shoot again. And successfully straight into his mouth, as is the plan. But guess what? He's fine. He doesn't have a big glowing weak point in there. And he mocks Mista for thinking so.
Yeah. Yeah, he stopped the bullet, but, it's still, like, fucked up his mouth a little bit. So while he's talking, he's just like, ow!
Like, I do appreciate how this guy is... through the entire fight, he's in control, but he is in a lot of pain at the same time.
Yes,
and the way those two work hand in hand is a really entertaining dynamic.
Yeah, like he's bleeding from the head, he's bleeding from the throat, now he's bleeding profusely from his mouth. But he's good.
He's never on the back foot. He just fucking hurts a lot.
Yeah.
But of course, it's JoJo's. You think his big move missed? Big moves never miss. They're just to disguise the real big move.
Yep.
It would have been nice, I guess, if that bullet to the mouth killed him, but really, it was a fairy to get the last 3 Sex Pistols on one of the borrowed stasis bullets.
Yep.
So they can do a tippity tap 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 and have it point back at Saleh.
Yeah. So Kraftwerk's comes out to deflect the bullet, but the bullet splits in 2.
Uh-huh.
And curves around Kraftwerk. The Sex Pistols split the bullet in 2, and one of those halves curves around and hits its target, which is Misa was aiming for the bullet that was already frozen in Saleh's forehead.
Mm-hmm.
And the force of this half of a bullet hits the bullet that's already there and pushes it just deep enough into his brain to kill him. And you even get like a cross-section of the bullet going deeper into his brain.
Like a deadly game of pool he's playing.
Yeah.
And so the day is won. Everyone's happy. The whole crew is saved from this ambush. I mean, I guess they would have been. We did at least get the guy out of the harbor.
Yeah.
This is the second best possible result. They were hoping to take him alive and see if there were any other accomplices, but oh well.
And there's a long bit here where like Misa's explaining his whole strategy, and Saleh just stands there completely frozen for a while until he goes wall-eyed and blood erupts from his nose, and then he just falls over dead. And then all 6 Sex Pistols high five, except for one pair where one punches the other and it starts crying.
Yeah, number 3 is a no good bully. I'm team number 5 when it comes to Sex Pistols.
Yep.
I guess we haven't talked about the Sex Pistols. We've been doing a lot of band talk this week. We should talk about the Sex Pistols, like widely regarded as the foundational punk act. I'm more of a Clash man myself, but I'm just glad that a good band is here. Sex Pistols had a pretty big career for only having 2 songs, so got to give them credit for that. But the driver goes back to the harbor as the lagoon, the yacht everybody else is on, starts to pull in. Yep. And then Giorno, who's been hunting this blood trail, catches up and commandeers this truck, telling him to go chase after a guy who's already dead. That's our big comedy ending. It's a little bit more refined. It's more of a thinker than a dog farting at someone.
Yeah.
But it's in that vein.
Yep. Yeah, that's the 3 episodes for this week. I think the debut of Sex Pistols is very good. I like Sex Pistols a lot. Just the combo of Mista and Sex Pistols. Moody Blues, also pretty cool. I like the idea. It's barely even a combat stand. It can punch and that's it. It's basically just a normal man who can punch. And
technically so can I, but it's not like it's going to do anything.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as the Moody Blues. I think we have a lot in common. Mostly being moody sometimes. What I think is interesting about this stretch is like that's 2 fights in a row where Giorno is just a chump. Like
Yep.
It really shows that this guy who's been so capable up until he joins the crew, once he's with them, what they're doing, the sort of well-oiled machine they have become, he's not in it yet. Like they're on a whole other level, and he's got to find a place for himself. Yeah. And like, Bruno's rocket punch, we can see that there is room for him, but he hasn't found that room. He hasn't settled into it yet.
Yeah. I would probably compare part 5 to part 3 as being the JoJo part that's the most similar to it.
So there will be a farting dog soon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Part 5 goes out of its way to make sure that every major cast member gets like a big introductory fight for themselves. And
we still got 2 to go.
Yeah. I like that they take the time to give you like a big like solo fight with each of them essentially. Well, I guess Abbachio is a little different. He helps a lot, but he isn't the one to solve it. Well, he solves it, but he doesn't fix the problem.
Yeah. Imagine Abbachio, the private eye. Like, I want to find out if my wife's been cheating. That's the easiest thing in the world.
Yes. He should just been a PI.
Hey, Moody Blues, show me what was happening in that hotel room an hour ago. Yep, your wife's cheating. Yep,
Yep. It looks like she's cheating with a ghost right now.
Yeah, you want to see some really weird photo evidence of it? Don't pay attention to the forehead.
But yeah, I also just really like some of the powers that you get to see early on. The deflating everything power is pretty wacky, but I really like Saleh's power of just affixing things.
Yeah.
That's neat. I feel like you could almost get a whole extra battle out of that power. Like, what else could you do with that?
Well, just ask the Japanese speedrun community what you can do with that.
Yeah. Now, see, if Saleh had just done that with a tree, he could have ridden it straight to the treasure.
But also, going back to something I was saying last week, the vibe among the group has not changed. Giorno's probationary status is still in effect. Nobody learned anything about anybody's stand and lived to tell the tale, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird dynamic. Like, I kind of like it, but it's very different from every other JoJo so far. And especially once Giorno joins the rest of the group. Like, at this point, at least, it feels like everyone's getting a similar amount of screen time. Like, Giorno is just another part of the cast and not the main guy right now.
Yeah. Like, he's the intern. He is...
Yeah.
He's getting everybody's mafia coffee.
Yeah. Like, Giorno did a big stunt at the start of the fight on the boat. It spurred Abbachio into action, but it didn't actually earn that much respect with him.
No.
It was just like, fucking fine, I'll do something about this.
At least in the Kraftwerk fight, he had a positive, like, effect. Like,
yeah.
That fight would not have went as well if they didn't go get him early, and Giorno did that. He did a thing.
Yeah. I really wish we could have seen them ride the fish.
Yeah, I always want to ride a fish.
Like, were they just holding on to the fish, or was it like...
Maybe if they had actually raised the sails on the boat, they could have gone faster than the fish. I don't know if they considered that.
Like, I just want to know if they had, like, a rope around the fish and they were just, like, getting pulled by it. Because it wasn't that big of a fish.
No, it's the sort of fish you'd, like, lift over your head and take a picture of if you caught it, but you could easily lift it over your head is also what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, Giorno can't direct the animals he creates. Like...
You keep saying that. You keep saying that, and it keeps not being true.
Yeah, it's true. He said that it's just a living thing in, like, the first episode with the frog, but... That was also while he had the frog come directly to him.
The animals always go exactly where he wants them to.
It's true.
Like, okay, the thing with the Narancia shoes fly, like, oh, that fly knows it belongs to Narancia. Okay, the life preserver on the yacht does not belong to the harbor.
Yeah, he could just pilot the animals.
Come on, let's all be honest. He pilots the animals.
Giorno should probably just make a big fucking angry gorilla or something and just make it punch shit. That'd be fun. That's what I would do.
If Giorno wanted to kill me, that would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to get in a car, drive away. He's going to turn that car into a tiger. I'm inside a tiger. He's got me.
Yup. Giorno really does have one of the weirdest roundabout, most powerful stands.
Right.
I just always wish it was used a little bit more like that. Even aside from the fact that any animal that gets hit, the damage just goes back to the person who struck the animal.
Oh, I'm not striking this tiger. I'm dead. I've been eaten by a tiger. I'm done.
Yeah. But it's just like, yeah, just get somebody inside a thing and turn that thing into a small animal. They're dead. They're dead, or maybe the animal also explodes. I don't know. But does that reflect back on the guy? Who knows?
And then you explode.
And then you explode. Oh, God.
Like, just the ability to turn something anyone is standing on into a snake.
Yeah.
That's you're going to have a bad day. You know,
what
no matter how things twist and turn from there, you're having a bad day.
What if somebody was standing on something and you turned it into like one of those giant pitcher plants that dissolve stuff that crawls in it? That'd be pretty bad. Even if it's not like an instantaneous death, you at least got him trapped in there and it smells really bad. Ooh, turn it into that one tree where if you barely even touch the leaves, you get like incredible pain all over your body for a solid year. That's a good one.
I've turned your pants into poison ivy.
Yeah. I turned all of your clothes into a cactus. Like, there's so many good opportunities here.
Just ruin someone's day. You do not want to get into a prank war with Giorno Giovanna.
Yeah.
Sex Pistols seems like really underpowered compared to that. Like, oh, what? You're just going to shoot me?
Yeah, but really good.
You're just going to have a bullet that can change direction up to 6 times on its way to shooting me? Oh.
I'm going to curve the bullet. Yeah, Giorno really does have the most powerful stand out of the entire gang. Like, knowing what the other two can do. Okay, one of the other two has a very powerful stand as well, but still, Giorno's is just the most free-form one. You could do almost anything.
Well, I'm sure we're going to find out about at least one of our 2 remaining Passione crew stands in next week's episodios. That's a weird mix of languages. That's not right. 9 through 11, 9 through 11. And that's the first mission from the boss, Hitman Team, and Narancha's Aerosmith.
Yeah. Or as it's localized, Lil Bomber.
That one's fun. I'm
Lil
sure
Bomber's cute.
I'm sure it's just as literal as 6 bullets, but it is at least cute.
Yeah. My very first ever exposure to Aerosmith as a child was the Fleming Moe's episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
That's how I learned about Aerosmith.
Next week, we're going to enjoy Love in an Elevator. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. But until then, see you later, folks.
To be continued.